Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
Puerto Rico is recovering after Hurricane Maria, and a local company is back in production there too. Good evening, I'm Michaela Marshall. Thanks for joining us. Hurricane Maria's effects are still being felt in Puerto Rico, but Rocky Brand in Nelsonville, York has also struggled to stay in contact with its production factory on the island. Reporter Stephen Hernandez has the story.
That's right, Michaela. Hurricane Maria made direct impact on Puerto Rico, making it difficult for Rocky representatives to get in contact with any of their business partners on the island. I came in contact with Dave Dixon, the Director of Manufacturing and Sourcing Operations, to ask for any sort of developments.
Our facility in Puerto Rico, they manufacture all of our made in USA items. So we have some postal footwear that's being made there, but we also, our large volume is made for the U.S. Army. We've been in Puerto Rico for 29 years. We've never had anything like this. We've been down a day here or a day there because of a hurricane, but nothing to the severity of this. That factory was actually about 3 weeks ahead of production. So we don't see it really impacting us much. Now, if this turns into a long-term shutdown, obviously we're looking at other alternatives, what we can do there. But I really think by the middle of next week, early next week, we should be back online.
Michaela, Dixon also told me that just today he got in contact with one of his business representatives in Puerto Rico. Dixon said that she had to travel all the way to another city to a water plant in order to get cell service to contact the Nelsonville Corporation.
Well, clearly this hurricane is causing communication problems as well. Do you know how long it took before she could make that phone call?
It's been a while ever since the hurricane actually hit land, so it wasn't until now. So I'd say maybe a week or 5 days has passed since they've been able to get in contact with her.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Stephen. And President Trump announced today that he plans to travel to Puerto Rico next Tuesday. He says this is the earliest he can go. Officials say Puerto Rico disaster areas are not yet capable of hosting a presidential visit. President Trump also made additional disaster assistance available to Puerto Rico.
We have shipped massive amounts of food and water and supplies to Puerto Rico, and we are continuing to do it on an hourly basis. Puerto Rico is very important to me, and Puerto Rico, the people are fantastic people. I grew up in New York, so I know many people from Puerto Rico. I know many Puerto Ricans, and these are great people, and we have to help them.
And Hurricane Maria is coming toward the U.S. East Coast. Right now, Maria is a Category 1 storm. The National Hurricane Center says tropical storm force winds are near North Carolina's Outer Banks. Governor Roy Cooper says residents and tourists should expect heavy surf, deadly rip currents, and possible storm surge flooding. The storm is expected to weaken further as it continues heading northeast into the Atlantic. A judge sentenced an Athens man to 18 months in prison after he pleaded guilty to 3 felonies and 1 misdemeanor. James D. Graber pled guilty to 2 counts of improperly handling a firearm, driving under the influence, and failing to appear for a hearing. This stemming from a July 2016 traffic stop at the old New Marshfield Elementary School. Athens County Assistant Prosecutor Meg Saunders says Graber was found with a loaded pistol under a cushion in the car. Graber's final sentencing is scheduled for October 31st. A federal judge will allow a woman suing the Athens County engineer to have an independent medical exam. The Messenger reports Cynthia Maged filed a lawsuit against Athens County engineer Jeff Maiden to try to block a road work near her home. Maged says she suffers from multiple chemical sensitivity, and she says the exposure to chip and seal could make her ill or cause her death. Cincinnati police say another one of its officers has been diagnosed with cancer. It's the latest in a string of current and past officers who worked out of the District 5 headquarters and have faced the disease. Police have been asking the city to move them out of the old building that contains mold, rodents, and a leaky roof for months. The widow of one out of at least 30 officers who've had this disease is suing. Her lawyer says too many people who work in the building have gotten sick, and some city council members agree.
Somebody's head has got to go on this. Somebody needs to turn in their resignation. We've been here before, 6 months ago, 90 days ago, whenever it was. This is not my first time of being here, and we recommend. And the city administration keeps using the Muhammad Ali shuffle. We're going to do it. We hear you, Winburn. We hear council. No, they don't, because here I've had couple of my friends who have gone through cancer recovery here, or even some of my personal friends. And I think we've got to resolve it.
Now, testing on the building last year did not show any problems with its air quality, but city officials are negotiating a lease to relocate officers to a new building because they say the old building is just too small. A Cleveland abortion clinic is asking Ohio's Supreme Court to grant it legal standing to sue over abortion-related restrictions tucked in the state's 2013 budget bill. Preterm, the clinic argues the budget provisions add burdens that should qualify the center to move forward with its legal challenge. The provisions demand more frequent renewal of emergency transfer agreements with the local hospital and testing of a fetal heartbeat before an abortion. Ohio University junior Jacob Hoback, founder of Bobcats for Life, sees those requirements as necessary. Republican and Democrat state legislative leaders are coming together. Senator Matt Huffman of Lima announced the group will create a new way to draw congressional districts. This comes after a citizens group frustrated with the issue decided to plan its own proposal. Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown criticized the Graham-Cassidy repeal bill today for cutting Medicaid at a hearing. He argued that cuts would hurt Ohio's ability to combat opioid addiction, and the block grant money Ohio would receive in place of Medicaid would just not be enough.
But don't take my word for it. I'm at the Talbot House in Cincinnati meeting with a group of people about opioid treatment. A father sat there with his 31-year-old daughter. He turned to me and touched her on the shoulder and said she wouldn't be alive now if it weren't for Medicaid.
The Graham-Cassidy bill takes money from states like Ohio that expanded Medicaid and gives it to states that did not expand their program. A West Virginia city is receiving federal grants to fight a drug abuse epidemic. Huntington says in a news release, a $1 million grant and a $300,000 grant will be used for the quick response team. This team helps overdose victims within 3 days. And the city was also awarded a grant for substance abuse services for Western Regional Jail inmates. West Virginia is also getting a federal grant to support courts in the state that focus on drug cases. The Justice Department's $1.4 million grant supports existing drug courts and help expand them to counties that do not have them. The state has been struggling with an opioid addiction crisis, and this state map shows all but 10 of West Virginia's 55 counties have drug courts.
Well, another day of temperatures in the upper 80s and close to 90. Hi, I'm Jordan Vanacek in the Newswatch Weather Center. We're looking right now in Athens, we're looking at temperatures around 87 degrees and then dew point temperatures in the upper 50s. It's still looking a little humid outside. Pressure is currently at 29.99 inches, so we're still in high pressure, making it feel very beautiful outside with the sunny skies. Winds out of the north at 3 miles per hour. Looking at temperatures around the region, again, upper 80s around southeast Ohio. Columbus is our hot spot at 91, down to 86 in Ironton, and Ripley at 89. Overnight, tonight, 72 by 8 p.m., 64 by midnight, and down to 60 by 4 a.m. Over to you, Michaela.
Thanks, Jordan. Should we expect these temperatures to be this warm all week long?
Actually, no. Tomorrow we're going to look at...
Thank you, Jordan. An Army veteran is walking 13,000 miles to raise awareness about veteran PTSD. Eli Smith's already gone through 9 pairs of shoes and 4 backpacks, and he still has 2.5 years to go. Eli says he was so deeply affected by veteran suicide, he had to do something about it. Catherine Kissel reports.
Eli Smith is doing something that's never been done before.
I decided to walk to all 4 corners of America.
The Ohio native sold everything he owned and bought a ticket to Pensacola.
Started walking, and here I am 304 days later.
On day 304, Eli's walked through 9 states. And it's been an adventure, to say the least. From the wildlife,
I ran into a bear in Ashland, Oregon. It was in the city.
Making connections,
I got to meet a 102-year-old World War II vet that had his son drive around just to come find me on the road.
Even catching up with celebs.
Ran into Courtney Cox in a farmer's market, said hello.
To the more serious, as he was nearly kidnapped on a rural road in West Texas.
Yeah, it was a little scary, to say the least.
Eli's essentially risking his own life to save others.
I lost a few friends to PTSD and suicide, and I wanted to do something to raise awareness.
Eli says that he walks for the 20 vets who will kill themselves every day in the U.S. He also walks for those who are thinking about it.
A lot of veterans out there do need our help.
As he makes his way to Cape Flattery in Washington, Eli wants us all to pause and think about how we can help vets in need.
Just say hi, send a text. That can make a world of difference.
Eli says 6 veterans have reached out to him saying they reconsidered suicide after learning about his story. A governor announces his plan to fight opioid abuse, what he is proposing to the legislature. Plus, the healthcare battle continues. We'll have the latest when Newswatch returns.
University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
The Republican Party is refocusing their efforts after deciding not to hold a vote on their latest attempt to repeal and replace the Affordable Care Act. GOP senators decided against the vote today at a closed-door luncheon.
We're on path to pass Graham, Cassidy, Heller, Johnson. It's not if, it's only a matter of when. The leadership team has done everything we've asked them. We're coming back to this after taxes. We're going to have time to explain our concept. We'll have a better process. And we're going to take this show on the road.
This was a last-ditch effort by Republicans to get a new health care bill passed before the procedural protections against a bill-killing Democratic filibuster expire this Sunday. Failure of the Graham-Cassidy bill became inevitable when Maine Republican Senator Susan Collins announced she opposed the bill. She joined 3 other GOP senators who had already announced their opposal. Republicans are now reportedly focusing on tax reform, their other big campaign promise and next major goal. Florida Governor Rick Scott says his state is ready to fight opioid abuse. Scott says he will set aside $50 million in his next recommended state budget to combat opioid abuse.
Today I'm proud to announce that during the upcoming legislative session, I'm proposing major legislation to combat opioid abuse. It will include the following proposals. First, we will fight to place a 3-day limit on prescribed opioids, unless strict conditions are met for a 7-day supply. This is a critical step toward limiting the chance of addiction and reducing the ability for dangerous drugs to spread into our communities.
Scott also proposed fighting unlicensed pain management clinics. He also wants to require participation in the state's prescription drug monitoring program. Equifax's CEO announced his sudden retirement this morning. Richard Smith's announcement comes after 3 weeks after the company admitted to a data breach. The breach compromised as many as 143 million Americans' personal and sensitive information. Equifax says the breach occurred between mid-May and July. It was discovered on July 29th, but the company didn't disclose this until September 7th. The breach is considered one of the worst ever in terms of reach and information exposed to the public. People have always known celebrities influence the things we do, but a new report shows they are even influencing our health decision. That story's still ahead.
And looking at our temperatures for tomorrow, we're still going to see some temperatures in the upper 80s. And are we going to return to seasonal weather, the fall weather? I'll have that for you. And also, are there any chances for rain? Well, I'll have that for you as well, looking at our weekend ahead.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like we're having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Hey everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Hello from the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Jordan Vanacek. Looking at today, temperatures reached 88 degrees, which is just 4 degrees below from our record, which was set in 1900. And at 74 is our normal for this time of year. Looking at our lows, 57 was our low this morning, a couple degrees above our normal of 53, and our record was set in 1940. Sunset tonight is in about an hour. Looking at our temperatures, for right now, 87 degrees north, wind around 3 miles per hour, dew point at 57, pressures at 29.99 inches. Looking at our temperatures around the region today, or right now, 58 in Athens right now, this is our overnight, 52 overnight in Athens, 62 in Columbus, 57 in Newark tonight, 59 in Ironton and Ripley. Tonight in Athens, 58 degrees, mostly clear skies with a little breeze, so not too bad. It's going to feel really nice for maybe a night walk. Looking at our PRECIPCAST, low pressure centered around upper Wisconsin. That is going to have a cold front associated with it, which will move eastward. Down here, this is what's left of now Tropical Storm Maria, which will continue to move up towards the coast and take an eastward track as it continues its way. That cold front that I was mentioning that will move into our region won't have much precip associated with it, but Looking at our bus stop tomorrow, 58 degrees around 7 a.m. Mostly sunny, a little chilly. If you want a jacket, I would suggest bringing it, but you probably won't need it later in the day as it will warm up. Looking at tomorrow, 88 degrees as our high. Mostly sunny in the morning, a few afternoon clouds developing later as the afternoon progresses. Northwest wind, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And looking at our hour by hour, looking at 58 by 8 a.m., 83 by noon, and getting up to 84 by 4 p.m. Again, mostly sunny in the morning, clouds developing in the afternoon. And then temperatures for tomorrow, 88 in Athens, getting up to 90 in Columbus, 87 in Cambridge, 89 in Ripley, and 89 in Ironton. And looking at our 7-day forecast, look how beautiful these skies look for the 7-day. Mostly sunny every day, temperatures looking pretty good the rest of the week, especially after Wednesday, we will get a much needed cool down. Temperatures will finally start to feel like fall. Back to you, Michaela.
Thank you, Jordan. Now, celebrities can influence what we wear, what we listen to, what we eat, but a new study shows celebs may also influence our health. Mayor Maloney explains in today's Health Minute.
Angelina Jolie's announcement in 2013 that she would undergo a preventive double mastectomy prompted other women to do the same. That's according to a new study. Researchers looked at hospital data from New York and New South Wales, Australia, over a 10-year span. 20 months after the actress's op-ed in the New York Times, researchers noticed the amount of procedures on both continents doubled.
The fact that she is leading women down that path to take a more proactive role in their own health is enormously encouraging. It just makes me think she's using her power for good.
It's not just Jolie. After Katie Couric's televised colonoscopy in 2000, scientists saw a 20% increase in patients getting the test, dubbing the significant spike the Katie Couric effect. Both cases showed the power celebrities have to influence healthcare decisions.
I've been very happy just to see the discussion about women's health expanded, and that means the world to me.
For today's Health Minute, I'm Mary Maloney.
How's it going? I'm Nick Niehaus, and coming up for sports, we have a couple of Bobcat football players earning special honors for their performance over the weekend. And we have reactions about the NFL's stance for unity during the National Anthem Sunday. All that coming up next on Newswatch.
Everybody, I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything.
Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Nick Niehaus. Two Ohio football players earned special honors thanks to their performance on the gridiron in Week 4 of the college football season. Nathan Rourke, sophomore quarterback for the Bobcats, was recently named a Star of the Week by the Manning Award organization and is up for vote to be Manning Quarterback of the Week. Rourke lifted the Bobcats over Eastern Michigan in overtime, going 19 for 31 in the air and accounting for 197 passing yards. Rourke wasn't alone in getting recognition, however, as running back A.J. Ouellette was named MAC East Offensive Player of the Week for the second consecutive time Monday. Ouellette rushed for 145 yards Saturday, a season high for him. Ouellette currently leads the team in rushing yards, as well as averaging 87 yards per game. Moving from college to the pros, in the most recent USA Today Power Rankings of the NFL, the two Ohio professional football organizations are in a head-to-head contest for last place. The Cincinnati Bengals, coming off an overtime loss against the Packers, are ranked as the 31st team in the league, and the Cleveland Browns, who are also winless on the season, see themselves at dead last in the rankings. Cincinnati, after firing their offensive coordinator, finally scored their first touchdown of the season in Week 3. The Browns, who have turned the ball over 9 times under new quarterback DeShone Kizer so far this season, have just one win in their last 19 games. These two teams will face off against each other this weekend in Cleveland. Alejandro Villanueva, the Pittsburgh Steelers lineman who stood alone during the national anthem Sunday, held a press conference to explain and apologize for his actions.
Regardless of this plan, very few players knew that I was going to the tunnel because I only asked the team leadership. And so because of that, I didn't give them an opportunity to stand with me during the national anthem. That is the very embarrassing part on my end.
Villanueva, a U.S. Army veteran, was the top-selling jersey in the NFL for 24 hours after the game Sunday. In case you didn't know, Sunday's actions during the national anthem were planned to show a sense of unity between players and owners. That stance Sunday even caused athletes from other sports to comment.
I'll salute the NFL, the coaches, the players, the owners, the fans, everyone that had anything or any association with the NFL yesterday. It was unbelievable. It was solidarity, and there was no divide.
World to comment on the NFL. Others in the NBA are also spreading the word about unity throughout the country. And speaking of LeBron and the Cavaliers, Dwayne Wade has agreed to a one-year, $2.3 million contract with the Cavs. This deal is not official, however, as Wade still has to be cleared through waivers today to officially become a Cavalier. Moving back to the NCAA, 4 college basketball assistant coaches and others are facing federal charges, including fraud and corruption. The FBI has been investigating college athletics and said they have found numerous instances in which bribes were paid to athletes to attend a specific university.
All of those charged today contributed to a pay-to-play culture that has no business in college basketball.
These coaches abused that trust placed in them by the players and their families, and they violated the duties that they owed to their schools.
The schools with coaches facing charges includes Arizona, Auburn, Oklahoma State, and USC. I'm Nick Niehaus, and that's it for sports. Back to you, Michaela.
Thanks, Nick. Now take a look at this. The world's second biggest diamond finally has a buyer. Canada's Lucara Diamond Corporation says a luxury jeweler bought it for $53 million. It failed to sell at an auction last year, and the diamond weighs more than 1,000 carats. It was discovered 2 years ago in the African country of Botswana, and experts say it is the biggest gem-quality diamond found in more than 100 years. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Michaela Marshall. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
I'm Gridiron Glory host Joseph Payton. Every Friday night, live at 11:30, we will have a jam-packed show for you with everything that went down on the local gridiron that night. From every touchdown pass to every crushing hit, Gridiron Glory is your #1 source for all things Southeast Ohio football. So please be sure to tune into our show and also follow us on Twitter and Snapchat at Gridiron Glory, and of course like us on Facebook. I promise you won't want to miss out, because remember, there's nothing better than Friday nights and Gridiron Glory.